This somehow got even worse for the St. Louis Blues as Doug Armstrong reveals a huge injury update on a key forward as Jim Montgomery has a huge decision to make moving forward with his lineup with a key player out for an extended period of time. Everything is trending in the wrong direction for the St. Louis Blues as they try to get back in the win column. We're going to break down all of this and so much more in this episode, and you're not going to miss it. But before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. We're trying to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. So if you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the St. Louis Blues, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. It means the world. And in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the team. But with that, Darius, let's just dive straight into it today, where the St. Louis Blues have been struggling. We've seen the game that they just came off. A lot of negatives to take from the game. Of course, a lot of guys standing up. Tyler Tucker, the only positive player to play over 50% of the games for the St. Louis Blues when it comes to plus minus. This is a team that has been struggling throughout their regular season to start the year. We've seen Jim Montgomery speak on it. We've seen Robert Thomas out, but this goes straight into an update on Jake Neighbours, where the Blues have announced that he is out with a right leg injury and will be evaluated in 5 weeks. Now, Jake Neighbours off to a hot start to the year. Darius, what is your thoughts on the Blues not only not being able to catch a break, but losing Jake Neighbours for this extended amount of time?
It seems like the last couple of days we continue to make videos about how, the situation is continuing to get worse. The team is not winning. Joel Hofer was genuinely horrific in yesterday's game. 2 goals in less than a minute to start the game. As you can see from the impact score chart, what an interesting shape that it's made for last night's game. Just awful. And so much negative impact throughout the entire team. It's just so brutal to watch. And then on top of it, we know that Robert Thomas, we did a video yesterday. We knew that him and Jake Neighbours were going to miss this game. It was going to be significant for this team. It was going to make an impact on the lineup. But now Jake Neighbours is out for at least 5 weeks with a right leg injury. And that's 5 weeks until he's reevaluated. He's still got to get skating, get back on the ice. This looks like he could be out for, close to 8 weeks at this point. Again, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but close to 2 months at this point, which is not good. This is not fun for Blues fans or the team. And he's, again, been one of their best offensive players and was hot out of the gate when not many were hot out of the gate this season. So significant blow to the team. It somehow continues to get worse for this team. I don't know what's going to turn it around. One thing is for certain, though. If there's one thing that this team is notorious for, it is making late season comebacks and going on streaks. So hopefully we can cling on to that. But in a season that I thought, okay, maybe they'll figure it out around November. They're now missing their first line center, one of their best young players, and the team is not playing well. And the goaltending has not been able to figure it out yet. So it's gone from bad to worse to I don't even know how it could possibly get any worse. But there is some positive news, I think, in terms of you have to deal with injuries. You're going to throughout the course of a season, Mark, but who gets called up now? Are they going to make a call up, right? The lineup is going to look different now for the foreseeable future.
And I think that's the biggest thing is, listen, looking at the team, they still have a very good hockey team. It's not like you're losing half of your roster and going out to ice a lot of AHL guys. Everyone on the roster was on this team's roster to start the year. Pius Suter is going to be able to shine in that top role until Robert Thomas returns. You're going to see a lot of guys try to take over a dominant performance to lead this team with Jake Neighbours out on the winger position. But the biggest thing with the team, losing 2 of your top 6 forward or top 9 to forwards, depending on where Monty puts the blender on that day, it's going to be tough for the Blues to kind of bounce back. I mean, looking at the team, they've been struggling in the standings. The 3rd worst team in the Western Conference with a 3-5-1 record, just above the San Jose Sharks and the Calgary Flames, 2 rebuilding teams. But the big thing to look at, there's a lot of teams, the Vancouver Canucks, the Edmonton Oilers, the Minnesota Wild are teams that want to make the playoffs as well. Early season doesn't dictate your season. We've seen it from 2019. This is the team that can make that big bounce. But the biggest thing, Darius, is looking at the team and how you fill out this roster for an extended period of time. Listen, I don't want to harp on any of these guys. Texie has not been playing the best, so I think it really leads into where Jim Montgomery goes to find more scoring out of these guys. A lot of the players have not lived up to standards. We were talking about Joseph and Texier being trade candidates to clear up cap space to start the year. Listen, Joseph has looked great. His speed is good. But the big thing with Jim Montgomery is he's going to have to look at outside help with this team if the struggles continue. And Darius, there's two guys to look at. Listen, there's an obvious one of the AHL, but I wanted to throw the idea of maybe Otto Stenberg coming up. We've seen him in the preseason. He looked great during camp. Everything pointed at him looking like a guy that could crack the team out of camp. Do you think Jim Montgomery goes down to Springfield and say, hey, we need a guy, a new fresh pair of legs, a young guy hungry to get into this lineup that can maybe turn the tide?
I think you bring up a good point because when you look at Dvorsky, I think that, and I'll get to Stenberg in a second. Of course, I know that's not who we're talking about, but when you look at Dvorsky, he's the obvious one, I think, in terms of who's going to be called up first. And he's going to offer you probably some goal scoring. He has spent some time at the NHL level, very small sample size, but he's been able to put the puck in the back of the net at the pro level. But when you look at a guy like Stenberg, I think it gets very interesting. And I think this is why you make a good point. This team's problem right now is not even necessarily goal scoring. It's keeping the puck out of the back of the net. And a guy like Stenberg is a very responsible player in that regard, a very responsible two-way player who can put the puck in the back of the net and can put up points. But again, his game, as we saw in the preseason, he is that, very responsible defensively, and there's things that he has to work on still, and that's why he's down in the AHL. That's not, a knock on him or anything like that. He's going to be a great player in the future, but maybe you look at a guy like this to kind of help the team in that regard, at least. So I think you bring up an interesting point in that way. I do still think it's probably Dvorsky, right, that would get the call if they are going to make a move like this. But Stenberg is an interesting one. And again, the problem has been, even if you look at last night, if you score 4 or 5 goals in a game, you should be able to win. You should be able to win that game on any given night. They are scoring goals. They scored 4 goals against Detroit on Saturday as well. And you collapse, you end up losing, and they're letting in 5, 6, 7 goals, on a nightly basis at this point, right? So I don't think goal scoring is necessarily the issue, although you might be lacking in that department now with these injuries. Neighbours has been good. He's been putting up points. Robert Thomas has been pretty good. We still want to see him take it to another level, but he's out with an injury now too. We'll get an update on that probably tomorrow. But it could become a problem now with some of these injuries, but it hasn't really been to this point. It's keeping the puck out of the back of the net. So I think that could be an interesting move as well.
And I think the biggest thing is we're looking at a team that obviously calling up an AHL guy to save the beginning of the season is not ideal. And we're not going to say that a guy like Stenberg could step into this lineup and immediately take over, become a top line guy, replace Robert Thomas in the system. Dvorsky is not going to break out and put the puck in the net like we've seen from Jake Neighbours. Not saying these guys can't do it, but I think at the current development of these guys, they're not going to be a huge impact. They can come in and spark something. Maybe Dvorsky comes up, throws a massive hit, scores the goal, and lights something under the butts of these key guys within the roster. But I think the biggest question is what the Blues look at doing when they're battling this adversity with a lot of guys not in this lineup. But Blues fans, what is your thoughts? Would you look at some help from the AHL? Is it Otto Stenberg, Dvorsky, someone we haven't spoke on? Let us know down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comments of the day. Coming from Greg, despite telling myself and everyone, don't be scared, well, I am scared, and boo. Look, everyone is scared, but the biggest thing with this Blues team, we've seen them bounce back. Yes, they're going through some battles, but once the goaltending gets together, the defense starts working, and the forward group, listen, I know I named all 3 positions having to get going, but this is a team that's very good on paper. They have a great coach in Monty, and I think it's just a matter of time before they make this push. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? Let us know what AHL players should be called up if Jim Montgomery goes that route down in the comments, and you can be featured on comments of the day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.